Please clap.
Please clap. Well, hello and welcome to How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up, featuring two guys getting drunk and reviewing movies live at the 2019 Everything is Awesome HEADStrong Comedy Festival. That sounds familiar.
It's like the second time we've done this.
It's like we're just reading the script
like
over
déjà vu.
again. Well, I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm your host, Joe, and we're here at the South Street Cinema in Philadelphia.
And yes, let's just have some total off-the-cuff banter about this being our third live show and how we performed 2 years ago at Tattooed Mom and last year at the Philly Improv Theater and blah, blah, blah. Car broke down a couple years ago. Here we are. Joe, do you want to explain the concept of this podcast to anyone who might be listening for the first time?
Yeah, I would love to. It's a weekly drunk movie review podcast. Usually we'll be reviewing whatever's at the top of the box office. Lately, we've been doing a lot of Oscar films because we like to do all of the sort of Best Picture nominees and everything. But today, we're doing something a little different. It's what we usually do at our live shows, is that we'll be bringing up a few guests, a few people from the audience. We'll be talking about their favorite movies, their least favorite movies, just movies in general. So instead of spoiling one movie, we can spoil a bunch of movies for everyone in attendance. Yeah. So maybe we should bring up our first guest. Yeah,
let's do it. Let's get it. Let's bring up Joe Manno from the O Word podcast.
Hello.
What's going on, Joe?
How's it going, guys?
You got a working mic over there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
It sounds
cool.
like I'm working. Hear the feedback of my voice.
So Joe is a fan favorite on the podcast. You've been on numerous episodes with us before. You're our go-to.
Yeah.
Our main bitch.
Only like once in the last year, though. This past year wasn't my best year for your podcast.
Yeah, you got to pick up the slack a little bit.
I know.
We try to have people on like once a year, so people don't get sick of them.
True. People get sick of me easily, so it's probably a good thing.
Actually not. I think you're a fan favorite.
Maybe.
Oh, we also drink on this podcast. Mike, what are you drinking today?
I am drinking...
Joe, do you want something?
Yeah, I'll have a beer.
All right.
Bengali
Just like a Bud Light.
from 6 Point Brewery, a.k.a. just whatever was in my fridge today before we left.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I made my own 6-pack out of my fridge. It's just Bud Light. Dilly. No, I'm just kidding.
No. God, no.
So yeah, Joe, we really haven't talked to you about movies a lot this year. What are some movies you've been watching?
I feel like this year kind of sucked for movies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you seen the Best Picture nominees? They're not great.
I've kind of avoided all the news about it because I don't like really give a shit what gets nominated. It's not that important to me.
Right.
But yeah, I can't imagine it's good. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, probably, right?
Do not get me started.
Yeah. Who gives a shit, right?
Oh, my
Right.
God. You guys ready for the Dad Rock cinematic universe?
Oh, yeah. If you think Queen is the last like band biopic after all of this.
Yeah, we're going to get the Eagles.
Right.
We're going to get Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah.
All the bands no one gives
And
a shit
they've
about.
got like the formula started already because it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, just name it after their biggest song. Then the Elton John one is coming out, Rocket Man, so that we're going to get like The Wall,
really?
Stairway to Heaven, and all these other ones.
I don't get it. That does nothing for me. I didn't see Bohemian Rhapsody. I have no interest in seeing it. Like Queen's fine, like whatever.
Right. Queen's a great band. Yeah.
But like I feel like a good chunk of that movie is just gonna be Rami Malek lip syncing the Live Aid performance.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, and it's
it's
like go watch YouTube, the Live Aid performance. You see the real thing. You don't have to watch like a lip sync version of it.
Or just like
Play
Queen on
understand the appeal.
Spotify.
Yeah, I don't understand the appeal.
I also get it, though. It's just, I mean, we talked about this during our episode, where it's just kind of like, I don't know, what if people just want to hear Queen music through theater speakers and kind of have some, like, engaging visuals? It's just, like, a little confusing about why it's up for Best Picture.
They should do it like those old like Disney movies where we have like the sing-along bouncing ball on the bottom.
No, yes. Well, it's like...
Mama just killed a man.
Right. Well,
The
it's
entire
like that.
theater singing.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's like
I mean,
that
they
for
were
dads.
singing when we saw
Yes,
it. Yeah.
But like people get so mad at like Ashley Simpson for lip syncing at SNL, but then when they see it in a movie, they're like, "Oh man, what a performance!
Best actor, Rami Malek.
Really
Let's nominate him."
Freddie Mercury. It's so stupid.
Oh,
Sorry
God.
if anyone liked that movie. I'm just kind of shitting on it.
And like, I mean, like, it made so much money. So like, studios have to be looking at that and being like, man, like, a pedophile directed this, and he didn't even finish it, and it made like bank at the box office.
Right.
Like, how could they not go forward and be like, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, The Who, we're doing them all,
Wait,
and
so-
they're all going to be connected, and all these
so-
actors are going to be in all the movies.
Bryan Singer, I know his name's come up. I didn't look into what happened, but he fucks kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Time's up, right?
Yeah. Nominated for
Here's
Best
your best
Picture.
picture.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing their best, like where he wasn't invited to the Golden Globes and everything. I don't know. It's just still that whole movie.
Well,
sounds like
he's
a
got
mess.
like a whole other movie coming out and like new allegations just came out like last week or something like that.
Really?
And he's just directing the next movie. No problem.
Yeah. So fuck that movie.
Yeah.
What have you been watching, Joe?
What have I been watching? I just watched mid-90s the other day.
Oh, how
I've
was
been
that?
meaning to see that.
It was
Yeah, I still
cool.
haven't seen
It was
that.
cool. It was way too hyped up. Jonah Hill, I guess. You know,
Right.
And like A24 was backing it, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Had a really hyped trailer.
It was fine. The music was cool. The performances were good.
Uh-huh.
Was it just like nostalgia fest or?
A little bit. It kind of just. It's kind of exactly what you think it will be.
Right.
You know, like it's like a coming of age thing.
It kind of looks
Right.
like it's just like a more gritty Boyhood.
Yeah.
Maybe like a section of Boyhood. Yeah,
Okay.
kind of. Because it doesn't go past. It's just like a couple months or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But there is one part where so the kid's like 13, but he looks like he's like 9,
Uh-huh.
and he's hanging out with some like older skateboard dudes, and they go to a party, and he's getting fucked up, like he's like smoking joints, drinking beer and stuff.
Right.
I think he takes an Adderall, and then he like hooks up with this girl, and
He
just 'cause-
alpha dogs her.
Well,
I'm just
he
kidding. Isn't that like an alpha dog scene where like
what's
Yeah, the
alpha
little
dog?
kid is like hooking.
remember like they
Frankie?
they kidnap what's his name, who
Oh,
unfortunately
Anton
passed.
Yelchin.
Yeah, and it's Anton Yelchin, and he gets it's based on like a true story, and he gets kidnapped by like Justin Timberlake, and who else is in that movie?
I feel like
anyway,
Emil Hirsch is in there somewhere.
Now I'm like really explaining my joke. The point is that there's like
Here's why you should have
so he
laughed.
an
alpha
underage kid.
Yeah, but so the actor is actually 13,
Right.
and the actress is like 24,
Uh-huh.
and they're like making out.
Right.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's
Do they
I-
sign like a consent form? Like his
I guess
parents
so.
sign? Like, oh, my
But-
son is allowed to make out with.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was awesome for him. That dude's gonna be jerking to that for the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
That has to fuck him up to some extent. I mean, I feel like that has to be awesome for him. It's like the same, like, man, I wish my teacher fucked me. Like, like no, you don't.
No, but it's
That's probably
definitely
gonna
weird.
haunt you.
Like, do you think she read the script and she was like, "Wait, hold on,
He's
I have to do
13.
what?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then like the next scene, he talks about how he like fingered her and she touched his dick or something. Yeah, they don't show that happening, but
Yikes.
yeah, I don't know if I was at that. It's got to be weird for that actress. I thought
Yeah,
she's
that's
like
weird.
making it. And
She's
this
like,
kid,
they're not going to CGI someone to look younger.
He's not like an old-looking 13. He looks like a
Right.
kid.
Yeah,
He looks
yeah.
like a child. It's
yeah,
weird.
he's short as fuck.
I thought it was weird.
Yeah,
That stuck with me the most from mid-90s. So I guess
that's a little weird. I mean,
that
it's
tells you what you need to know. About
you are writing this line of kind of like trying to portray reality. Like obviously something like that has happened time and time. I'm sure it happens
Yeah.
like every day or whatever.
Yeah.
But then to replay something like that on a film, I
Well,
don't
I just
know.
thought
to
you
have-
could have like hinted at, like they hinted
Right.
at everything else
Mhm.
that happened, but they showed them making out. I just thought it was weird.
Right.
It was weird. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I remember there was so much hype for that film, and then like they came back, or like a bunch of critics came back, and they were like, I don't know, this movie's filled with toxic masculinity, and I was kind of curious. I was like, I don't know. I wanted to see it and see like kind of like where that would stem from, just because
Yeah.
I have really no idea what happens.
There
in
is
the
a
movie,
lot of
so-
that, but they're also like 15.
It's also
16
called
and
mid
stuff.
90s.
Yeah. Like,
Oh right, yeah, which was
I-
filled
yeah.
with toxic.
I mean, they're like the one dude's really shitty, but I don't know. He's like a kid. You know what I mean?
I'm also curious if that's
Right.
like autobiographical at all for Jonah Hill.
I doubt it. 'cause
He's,
all the,
he's
No.
skateboarding around as a 13-year-old.
I mean, I think he probably had friends like that, but they're all really cool, and I feel like he was like a chubby nerd.
He was not
He was just
cool.
like a fat nerd. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all those stories were like, this is the raw, gritty truth. Like when James Franco wrote like that Palo Alto or something. And it's just kind of like, well, it's a bunch of stories I heard. And it could have happened to me too. Where,
Yeah.
you know, like what's it called? Who directed Mid-90s? I just lost his
Jonah
name.
Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill. Like his I think his parents are like insanely rich, and he grew up in like Los Angeles. So there wasn't. I don't think I couldn't see him being like, I'm running with like the underdogs and like.
Yeah, I kind of like Jonah Hill, but he kind of went really pretentious with this one.
Right.
And it seems like he's really playing to like the skate community, and up until now, didn't seem like there was any connection for him to the skate community.
Right.
So I think. I mean, I'm not a skateboarder or anything, but I think they're probably looking at it like he's a little bit of a poser, and he's kind of exploiting that like scene without really ever being a part of it.
Yeah, they put out like a magazine to like promote the movie too.
Yeah, like a zine.
Like a zine.
Yeah.
And it's like written by like Reggie Rocket, like photograph.
Tubular.
But yeah, so I watched that recently. I didn't. I'm kind of talking
funny at
negatively
all?
about it. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Okay.
There's some good performances. There's one dude. I think his name is Nikhil Smith or something like that. He's like Odd Future related. I think he's a professional skateboarder, but he gives a really good performance. The kids gives a good performance.
Right.
The mom she was in Inherent Vice. She's like the girl he's looking for. I forget her name in the
Right.
Catherine Waterston.
Yes. Yeah. So it was weird to see her in like a mom role.
Yeah.
But she was good in it too.
Yeah, she's playing like what's his name's mom. Like who plays his older brother?
Lucas Hedges.
Yeah, Lucas Hedges.
So I feel like they kind of have to be close in age.
Yeah.
She's like, I had Lucas Hedges when I was 5. I'm trying to raise these kids.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was good. It was worth checking out. Then recently, I just watched the Ted Bundy documentary this weekend.
How was that?
Dude, it was cool.
Did you see the trailer for that?
Yeah, there's
like,
a Ted Bundy movie coming out now.
Yeah, so the guy who produced the documentary is the director of that movie, Joe Berlinger or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. Like, I know people say that Ted Bundy's like a stud, but Zac Efron's like a legitimate stud.
Right.
And I feel like that's really bad casting.
I was watching the trailer maybe like last night or this morning.
Yeah, it like just dropped.
It also looks like hella like lo-fi or just like weird quality. I didn't know what to make of it. I was like,
I think
like,
they're trying to like get that 70s look or like 80s
kind
look.
of. It also just looks like unprofessionally done.
Oh,
which I don't know. That's just my opinion. Sometimes I don't know, say that about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then least favorite movie.
Yeah.
I'll do real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Is whatever is the newest Marvel or DC movie.
Aquaman.
At any moment, ask me what my least favorite movie is, and it's whatever the last superhero movie was.
Yeah, Aquaman's
So I
doing
guess is
numbers,
Aquaman
though.
the last one?
Yeah. Most recent one, yeah.
Yeah, most
well,
recent
I guess
one. Yeah.
you could count Glass as a superhero movie.
I never saw Unbreakable.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of a different thing. But yeah, so Aquaman is my least favorite movie. I'll never see it, but I know that it's my
But I
least
already
favorite
know
movie.
it's my least favorite.
Man, did you see the single that they released to like promote it?
No.
And it's like a Pitbull cover of like Toto's Africa. And it's, oh man.
Ocean to ocean.
You're in for a treat.
Whoa.
Yeah, Google Pitbull Ocean to Ocean. And yeah. And
It
Well,
seems-
it's not a cover. It's like one of those rap songs where they take just straight up the chorus and melody from some popular song.
it's the Flow Rider.
Oh, they just like
and they
sample.
structure. Yeah.
Yeah, and they like switch up the lyrics a tiny bit and make it their own. And
Yeah, that's weird. Who asked for that?
nobody.
The Aquaman fan base, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know.
Aquaman.
It really feels like Marvel's not even trying anymore.
I mean, that's
they're
DC.
printing money, or DC,
Right, yeah.
whatever the fuck. They're just printing money, and they're like, hey, yeah, sure, Toto's Africa, get Flow Rida on it.
But I mean, the thing
It worked
is,
though. I mean, it made like the most money of any DC
it made
movie.
bank. It was
Yeah.
at the top of the box office
That's
for
'cause
a
people are
really
down.
long time.
It did
And
really well internationally.
everybody
too.
thought it was going to flop, and it was just kind of. I think it shows that I don't know what's it called. Even the movies that everyone was like, "Oh, yo, fuck Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad and everything," they all did
Yeah,
like,
they do like
gigantic numbers. And it's just kind of like, oh, DC's problem, and it's like DC
But to
doesn't
a
have a
certain
problem.
extent,
They're making money, like
people like going to the movies,
right.
and most people are kind of indifferent as to what they see.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like, oh, my friends want to go, so I'll go.
Right.
And yeah, so
There's
there's
certain
not a
movies-
lot of options outside of those movies.
Do you think Jason Momoa got those moms in the door?
Oh, for sure.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Mom's,
Mom,
daughter,
They were
sister.
thirsting for that bod.
And especially like it's like a weird like it came out like right around Christmas. Like they knew what they were doing. They were kind of like it's like a mom would be like, "Come on, you want to see the new Aquaman, right? Huh? Let's go check it out, huh?
This is mommy's Christmas present.
I already got us tickets. Well, let's just go. Let's check it out."
Who's the girl in that movie? Amber Heard? Is that the?
I have no idea.
The female co-star. Whoever it is. I was reading some weird story about like Jason Momoa's behavior on set, where supposedly like when they weren't filming scenes, if she would be like reading a book and not paying attention to him, he would just walk over and like rip a page out of the book that she was reading and be like, "Pay attention to me."
I've seen,
I think he's just method acting as Aquaman, obviously.
Look at me. Look at my abs.
I've seen his Instagram, and he's kind of like a hippie or something. You know, like he's like he's got his long hair and all natural stuff, and he seems like one of the dumbest people on earth. Like he seems like a jock who like dated a hippie girl and then was like, "Oh, that's what I do now."
I mean, if you look like Jason Momoa, you don't really have to form much of a personality.
Yeah, but he's not a good actor either. That pisses me off.
He's good.
He's good at Game of Thrones.
He's a beefcake.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just let him be a beefcake. Don't give him starring roles. You know.
I mean, it worked. Okay.
Yeah, but just because it worked doesn't mean it's good.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And he's also like we talk about this sometimes on the podcast. Like if you look at Jason Momoa, you're like, "Oh, he fucks." You know, if you look at like The Rock. Or like, or
Ballers.
Vin
Did you watch
Diesel.
Ballers?
Yeah, but I'm
Does
never,
The Rock
I'm
fuck
never
in Ballers?
convinced
Dude,
that
The Rock
is
fucks
actually
a bunch in Ballers, but he also talks about sex a lot, and every time it's like
he's like
it's very weird.
It's
I
like
don't want to smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah,
it's like incredibly like procedural. He's like, and then like he only knows the concept.
Yeah.
Never...
He seems like an alien talking about sex. Yeah, trying to fit in. It's very weird. Not a fan.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like The Rock also wants to kind of have that like family image or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it like Skyscraper. Like, ooh, we reviewed that movie. It was terrible. Don't go see it. I'm about to spoil it. The family survives, and like they wanted to have like somebody die in it, like from the family. And he's like, "No, fuck that. I'm a family guy. Like, I'm not gonna do this movie unless like the whole family lives and I kiss them all at the end." And you know, it's just like that's in his contract, kind of. I think Rampage was kind of supposed to take like a more dark turn too. And he's like, "No, it was like me and the gorilla. We're gonna survive, and we're also gonna be friends at the end."
Right,
yeah,
he doesn't want anyone to be like sad about him.
Right, yeah. I don't know why I gave him that voice. Like, "Oh, fuck you, man." He's like,
I'm
really,
The Rock.
I'm The Rock. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Cool.
Wow.
Cool.
What a transition here.
Yeah. I feel like I've been up here long enough now.
From here?
Let someone else talk shit.
Yeah, if you feel like you're all talked out.
I don't got much else to say. I didn't see a lot of movies this year.
All right. Why
Yeah.
did we bring you up here?
I saw The Grinch.
Oh, okay.
How was that?
Sorry.
It was probably what you thought it would
Yeah.
be.
All right.
It was fine.
See, I have loyalty to the original. Well, not the original, but the original live-action Grinch.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a fantastic Christmas movie.
The Jim Carrey one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Like,
It's
it's
a
goofy
little
as
long.
fuck,
It's
but,
like
like
4 hours long.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm loyal to it, but
Well, I mean, if they're
Right,
gonna make a
yes.
new one, I'm not gonna go see it.
It was different though. It was a different story, but it was, I mean, it was fine. It was really short. It was only like 75 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So
I also
you're
hate,
you're
I
in
hate that
and out.
animation studio,
75
Illumination.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm not gonna hate on it. I enjoyed it.
Was there like
Got me
Minions
in the
humor in
Christmas
it?
Spirit.
yeah, how minion-y was it?
How minion-y?
It's the,
Yeah.
it's the
This is
studio
the same
that made
studio.
it.
There was no
Disney.
minions. If that's
Well,
what
yeah,
you
I
mean.
know, but like,
I mean, it was like cutesy.
was
yeah.
it minion-esque?
I guess so. It was, it was
I
fine.
better put that in
Don't shit on the
Merriam-Webster's.
It was a good way.
Minion-esque.
Like, I'd imagine if I had kids, they would enjoy it, and you watch it
Right.
with your kids, and it's fine. I might not watch it until I have kids, but
Right.
it was fine.
All right.
I did realize around Christmas time, though, since we're talking about the holidays now, that I think people say Happy Holidays to me more often than Merry Christmas because I look Jewish. So I think I get Happy Holidays at a higher rate. And when I say Merry Christmas, I get a lot of like,
Are you sure?
didn't
Really?
see that one coming. Yeah, my
You're
girlfriend.
going with that one?
My girlfriend and I went and got bagels the one day, like right before Christmas, and the guy like handed her the bag and was like, "Merry Christmas," and then looked at me and said, "Happy Holidays." And I was like, I feel like your Merry Christmas like covered both of us. You don't need to say two different things.
There's like schmear all over Joe's bagel.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
So I said Merry Christmas to him, and he was like visibly taken, like he didn't know how to deal with the situation. It was
but
very bizarre.
shouldn't we all be just saying Happy Holidays anyway?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I just noticed
I didn't know if you were launching into a war on Christmas.
There's a war on
keep
Christmas.
the Christ in Christmas. No,
Why does Starbucks have red cups?
I just noticed it because I'll be with people who get
Watch
a
those
Merry
levels.
Christmas, and then I get a Happy Holidays. And I'm not Jewish, but I admit I do look like someone who would be Jewish, so I experienced that. That's my plight, you know what I mean?
I'm so sorry to hear that, Joe.
Yeah, it's okay, guys. I'll survive, I think.
All right, let's give a hand for Joe Manno, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. Woo. And and you can find if you liked what you heard right there, you can go check out more of that at the O Word Podcast, and that's owordpodcast.wordpress.com.
Hell yeah.
Damn, haven't committed to that .com yet, huh? But yeah, Mike and I have been guests on there, so definitely I recommend checking that out.
For sure.
For sure.
All right, should we bring somebody else up?
I would love to.
Who can we bring?
Who
around here? Who
wants
around here would
come up?
like to come up here?
Oh my gosh. I think it's this gentleman.
Oh, look at this tall drink of
I
water
don't know
coming
who this guy is.
Kevin dressed like a SoundCloud rapper tonight.
It's me, Post Malone.
All right, let's give a hand for Kevin Pettijohn, everybody, who has been on every single live episode we've ever done.
Yeah.
You're basically a co-host at this point.
Basically.
Yeah, Kevin comes on to co-host our live
Do you have any
episode.
changes you want to make to the podcast?
Yeah, it's like, my name comes first on the credits.
Okay.
Flip title of the show, like, featuring.
Kevin Pettijohn presents How Many Fingers Am I Holding Up?
Is your mic working?
Is it working? Can you hear me?
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just hold
All
it
right.
closer to my face.
Cool.
But yeah, I was going to say, Daddy's a little hungover right now.
You look like you're giving like a press conference after like a rambunctious night on the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to apologize to the city of Philadelphia for the things I did last night.
Kevin kept trying to video message me last night.
Yeah, like 1 a.m.
I wasn't answering. I was like, I don't know what this is about, but I don't want any part of this.
Whatever's on the other end of that video can't be good.
There's almost zero situations where like somebody's trying to video chat you and you pick up or there's just nothing good comes up. It's
Decline every time.
Decline, and then you text them and you're like, why did you do that?
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Mom's visiting and she wanted to see you. Well, she can come here.
Your beautiful, beautiful face when I was very, very drunk. Yeah, I was just podcasting by myself a little bit too hard last night.
Yeah?
Is that what you call drinking now?
Yeah.
You've been on the podcast so much you just associate it with drinking.
Analog podcasting.
Yeah. Manual podcasting.
Oh, boy.
All right, Kevin, did you see any good or bad movies recently?
I saw my favorite movie of the year I saw this year, which, sorry, Joe, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, we have yet to see
we
that.
still need to review that.
Yeah, neither of you guys have seen that. Nobody's seen it. I keep telling people to go see it because it's great.
I do
That
think
was
it's going to
awesome.
win Best Animated at the Oscars.
I was
It's
expecting...
tracking that way.
Speaking of Aquaman, I was totally expecting... You know what? I'm not done about Aquaman. I'm just going to... what's it called? I kind of thought Spider-Man, Spider-Verse or whatever was going to like blow Aquaman out of the water or something. Jeez.
Yeah, can't stop.
Jeez. I kind of thought that was going to do better than the Spider-Verse or whatever.
Yeah, just Into the Spider-Verse didn't have
I'm mixing
Jason
it up.
Momoa's
Right.
rock hard nipples.
Right, just because
Did it do
Marvel
bad?
kind of didn't do great. I think it was released right around the same time as Aquaman, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever got to the top of the box office. Maybe the week
Yeah.
it came out. But yeah, and I kind of also thought this is going to do better than Aquaman. It's going to do big numbers, and we're going to usher in like this whole new kind of animated superhero movie kind of trend.
Yeah.
And now I don't know.
I still think we'll see that trend if it wins
Okay.
the Oscar.
Right.
You know, I mean, because then it's going to keep playing in theaters while it's nominated for the Oscar, and that's going to be extended box office numbers, and
Pretty soon everything's going to be a fucking superhero movie.
at the Oscars. Oh God.
Yeah, I kind of hope that Black Panther wins Best Picture, just to completely devalue
Yeah, I mean,
any Oscar ever.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
It was not the best movies nominated this year.
But yeah, Into the Spider-Verse was awesome, and the soundtrack's like my top album of like 2019 so far because it's just great. Animation was awesome, and it was like the best Spider-Man movie ever, mainly because it had John Mulaney in it, and I love him.
And what, like Nicolas Cage and
Nicolas
of other
Cage is in
people.
it, and like a bunch of voice actors and stuff. But yeah, John Mulaney as Spider-Pig or Spider-Ham was amazing.
I heard it was like trippy too, right? Like
The
I mean,
animation
obviously
is
there's
amazing.
the whole alternate universe thing going on.
Oh yeah, it's up there with like Days of Future Past for like my favorite superhero movie, just because it's so, the concept of it's so weird. Like Spider-Man, like actually isn't really a spoiler, but like in the first like 5 minutes, like Spider-Man dies in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like straight
Yeah,
up
I think we get that from the trailer. Yeah.
gets straight up like murdered, and then you have all the alternate reality spider people showing up, and it's just great. It's a super good movie.
Cool.
But in more interesting news, as you guys know, I watch a lot of old movies at work all the time.
Okay.
And AMC is doing this special this winter where they're doing like whole blocks of like specific actors.
Okay.
And
Interesting approach.
Yeah, yesterday I got to watch about 6 hours of Patrick Swayze movies.
Oh God.
Oh
no.
It was delightful.
What did you
guys wanna
watch?
Guess
Dirty
which movies?
Dancing.
Nope, wasn't in there.
No.
No.
Point Break. That's got to be in there. Yeah. Roadhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one more.
Oh,
That
what's
good
the
one.
other? Oh, Ghost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's a solid
3 for
block.
3.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was Ghost followed by Point Break, and then I got to end my day watching Roadhouse, which
Roadhouse.
I have not seen Roadhouse in a long time. I forgot the plot of it is basically Patrick Swayze fucks a town.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, but it was those movies are so good. They're just awesome.
Yeah,
Made
they're
me miss
definitely.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Did he die yet?
He did
No.
die.
He did die.
Yeah, I
gosh.
think he died of cancer.
Did he die yet? Michael, no.
It seemed like an inevitability last I saw him.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
was great. I forgot how good of a movie Ghost is. That like when you think of Ghost, you think of like, I don't know. I always remember like the romance plot,
Mm-hmm.
and like basically it's a movie about a woman that like fucks a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, similar to Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters, but there's a whole like that movie's like an action movie, and it's great. It's awesome.
Speaking of Ghostbusters, who's ready for Ghostbusters 3?
It's starring Stranger Things.
Are they calling it Ghostbusters?
Oh, I have no idea
3?
what they're calling it,
Yeah.
but I feel like that movie getting like greenlit is like just so exemplary of like the sexism in Hollywood, because like you have a Ghostbusters reboot like 2 years ago that makes like $230 million at the box office, like doubles its budget. It's like, yeah, it's like get some bad reviews, but like it makes money.
Yeah.
And then like Jason Reitman, who his movies this year made a combined like $17 million maybe. Like the front runner made $2 million, and he's just kind of like, well, I've got an idea for Ghostbusters. And they're like, all right, yeah, let's just completely forget that other one happened.
Yeah.
And we'll just move forward with this.
I mean, I don't think you could make a second You were on our Ghostbusters review, right?
No,
Was that
I
you?
don't think
That
so.
was Nick.
No. Yeah.
But you saw it, right? No?
No.
Okay. There was no reason for you to.
It looked. It had the
that
same
movie was-
visual effects as
that
the
movie was-
Scooby-Doo movies.
Awful. Just for obviously not reasons that the internet wanted it to be awful. But I don't know. I have to think that it's not just Ghostbusters is hot right now, because it's not really. I have to imagine it's one of those things where like Sony's like, God, we gotta keep holding on to this Spider-Man franchise. Like, you know, it's something where like if
Like
they
they have
don't
the
make
property
another,
and
if they don't make another movie, like they'll lose the property or something.
But like
so I have to imagine it's something like that.
But
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2016 did well, like numerically speaking. It made money, and it's got its hardcore defenders and fans.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Yeah. No, I get
I
it.
don't know.
Though.
I was just kind of surprised that they were like, all right, let's go back to the old guys in a movie instead of these like 4 like topical actresses we have right now.
Well, isn't it supposed to be kids now?
Yeah.
I
that's
think
true.
it's like.
But
4...
it's going to be set in the original Ghostbusters universe because the all-female Ghostbusters movie is not canonically in the same universe, even though Bill Murray's in the movie.
They're just going to forget that one ever
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Yeah.
And we keep making jokes about like, oh, it's going to be like Stranger Things, but like you absolutely know they're going to use one of the Stranger Things kids.
Yes. You know exactly. As soon as I heard Ghostbusters reboot with kids, it's not even a reboot, sequel. Like, and I was like, God damn it, they're gonna do like make it right around like the time like the original Ghostbusters like ended, kind of. So it's gonna be, when was the last Ghostbuster or before?
Like 80s, like
yeah.
80s.
So they're gonna pick it up in the 80s, and it's going to be like them having kids, and all of a sudden it's just gonna be them kind of like riding this like like Stranger
Skateboards.
Things and like It wave.
Yeah.
Like, you know, where it's like little kid horror. It's fucking hot right now. I don't know.
Yep.
So I think that's also where the idea comes from. They're like, we got to get this out before little kids being scared in the 80s is like over. You know, like it's little kids scared. And then also nobody wants to see like the original Ghostbusters come back. Like,
No.
They're all going
be
to cameo
this
in
movie,
it.
yeah.
You
Right.
know it.
I wonder how that's going to work though if it canonically like takes place in the 80s because they're all old as fuck.
Yeah.
So it might like take place now.
Yeah, it probably will. But
Yeah.
I just have to imagine that, I don't know.
I think supposedly Rick Moranis is like either he's acting again or he said he's now open to the idea of acting again.
Awesome.
So I'd be looking forward to a
coming-
cameo from him.
That'd be interesting.
Coming back from his great folk career back to movies.
His what career?
Yeah, didn't he become a folk musician?
I have no idea.
I think he stopped acting to like focus on his family.
Yeah.
Because he was like, yeah, I got kids, I want to raise them.
Yeah.
Now they must all be grown up.
I know Steve Martin plays the banjo, so it's not really relevant to anything.
I feel like that's such like
But now we all know that.
it's like an old man like comedian humor star thing to do is like, well, actually I do folk music now. And it's just kind of like, all right, I don't really care about that.
You don't love folk music?
There's a lot of like older comedies that I can't remember whether I heard this on a podcast or this was an actual conversation I was having with somebody.
What's the difference?
These worlds have just combined, and my
You're
brain
constantly
is
speaking into a microphone just at all times, so it
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, I narrate a lot of what I'm doing all day.
Yeah.
and I'm streaming it to a platform
Just on
where
Facebook
people
video
listen.
all the time.
But yeah, somebody was talking about like, why didn't they bring back the Austin Powers franchise?
No, I think was that a conversation we were having?
I don't know.
I love that.
Because and then we kind of like started to talk about like the state of like comedies now, and it was kind of like, picture Austin Powers, like, motherfucker, like they had to cast like all these extras for this gigantic musical opening or whatever, and it's all like the premise that it's like a comedy, and then like I feel like something happened, and all of a sudden like we have to like watch all these like Judd Apatow movies, and like those are what comedy are like. Like comedy has to be about something now. It can't just be like goofy like, oh, Austin Powers. It has to be like, oh, I'm not ready to have a baby, and
it stops being like zany comedy characters. Like Austin Powers was just like a character that Mike Myers was doing, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
To the point that I didn't realize that he wasn't British. Like when they cast him in Bohemian Rhapsody, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, like a British comedian.
Right. Yeah.
And then he was like presenting the movie at the Golden Globes, and he just had his American accent. I was like, oh yeah.
Well, he is
Wayne's World.
Canadian. I think Mike Myers is Canadian.
Oh yeah.
So he's basically British.
I will always go up on my fucking soapbox or whatever and talk about how I was watching some sort of Judd Apatow movie the other day, or maybe I was watching like a block like you were with Patrick Swayze, like just of Judd Apatow kind of movies. I was like, man, these like also didn't age well
they're so
at
bad.
all.
They're
It's
so
like
bad.
some of the Judd Apatow movies are just like literally like the center of the comedy is like all of our like beloved comedy stars being like, dude, I'm not gay. You're gay. I'm not gay. You're gay. And I'm like, yuck. Why is this like a non like?
I've been
tying into mid '90s when Joe was talking about that. I was thinking I heard an interview on NPR with Jonah Hill where he was talking to Fresh Air, Terry Gross, or whatever her name is.
Mhm.
And she had mom just like, yeah, we're going to talk about your mid-90s movie. But like real quick, remember those Judd Apatow movies you did? Like, how do you think they aged? I'm going to play this snippet from Superbad. And it's when
Gotcha.
it's when Jonah Hill's like, dude, like that girl just looks like she could fuck, blah, 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 blah. And then it cuts back and Jonah Hill's like, yeah, I'm really embarrassed about that now. That sounds terrible. It's like, fuck you, Jonah Hill. You don't care.
Yeah. But even Superbad's kind of like, I don't know. They're like high school kids and they're being vulgar and they're hormones and they're talking about like subscriptions to online porn or whatever. But it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's so weird with like man children like arguing like, you know how I know you're gay and like all this stuff. And it was just like, eee.
I've been rewatching Entourage lately.
Oh, boy.
Which is like that times like 20. Like the first season, like they can't go an episode without using like the F word or the R word or something in there.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I think all those things like Judd Apatow, Family Guy, all that was really popular when weed was still illegal, and now all of America has just gained such a tolerance to the kind bud that we realize all that stuff is horrible.
That's
Like when you're like high one time out of the week, you're like, ha, Family Guy, classic. But now that we're high all the time, we're like, this is dumb.
It's like also funny that culture hasn't caught up to like weed being like legal places now. That's kind of like Wiz Khalifa. It's kind of like the police trying to catch me. I'm smoking weed. And it's like, dude, you live in California. Like you can do it almost anywhere and nobody will. Like he's like all like the theme of all of his like rap songs are like, God, I'm smoking, but I gotta keep a watch out for the police. They're always after me because of how high I am.
That's why those new
on this legal drug.
all those SoundCloud rappers are stepping their game up so much. Like I heard one song recently that was just like, yeah, we're all doing ecstasy and like smoking salvia, and I'm just like, oh, that sounds terrible.
Right. I think that's why you have to do like these pills now, like in a SoundCloud kind of thing, because they're like, oh no, that's illegal to have on you.
Little pumps and little cry.
Just to backtrack, something I'm realizing now. God, and now I don't want to. Now I don't want to say it out loud. You know what happened between Austin Powers and Judd Apatow movies? 9/11.
I was gonna.
The culture shifted. The culture.
9/11 killed comedy.
It did. Shit got too real.
More reasonably, it's kind of like Judd Apatow made a movie, and it was kind of like, oh, it's about a guy like farting and masturbating on his couch, and the studio's like, wow, you made that for like $3 million? Like, we just spent $100 million on an Austin Powers movie. Let's make like 20 of those.
Yeah.
But like, and then I don't know, but we went through like a year, like 3 or 4 years ago, where like every comedy that came out was like friends that are fucking each other, friends that aren't fucking each other, friends that used to date but now they're fucking each other again. Like it was just like the most repetitive plots to like these comedies. It got so boring. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, and now like comedy's almost non-existent.
Yeah, there aren't any good comedy movies that come out anymore.
We're always like looking for a comedy movie to review, but like almost nothing came out this year.
There was
we did
Watson and Holmes.
We did game night and Blockers this year.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Game night was pretty good,
Right.
but like that's not like a defining movie of a like moment in comedy by any means.
And they also have to make it like a hybrid of like, oh, it's comedy action, and like the studio's like, all right, we can take that.
Oh yeah, there's Jumanji that came out. I didn't see that though.
Right. Again, it's kind of like comedy action.
Yeah, that is the thing now. It's kind of like the blockbusters that are out are the comedy movies now. There's not like action movie Tom Cruise and then some like good comedy that does good numbers at the box office.
I mean, The Last Jedi had a Your Mama joke in it, so.
Oh man,
how did that age? Has anyone like rewatched
The Last Jedi? Oh yeah, I think I've watched it actually like 3 times this year because it's on Netflix. It's great.
is? Okay.
I still love it, but I love Star Wars. So.
Did you liked it originally when it came out?
Yeah, they had Mark Hamill drinking dick milk from an alien. Like, I loved it.
Oh boy, man.
But oh shit, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I want comedies to go back to Austin Powers stuff though, because I recently rewatched those too, and like in my mind, I'm like, oh, those movies were like terrible garbage, but then like rewatching them, like they had such a high budget for no reason.
Oh,
like it's great. Like it's almost comical. Like how much money was obviously spent in making this movie. Like, it has amazing sets, amazing costumes.
Right. It
so
was
many
almost
extras.
a joke of like how well this was made to make such a goofy movie.
To make a
and
bunch
also,
of dick and fart jokes.
The laughs per minute, like in movies like that too. I feel like we don't see that anymore either.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's just
what
kind of.
I kind of wish they would bring back like the spoof genre,
Right.
like on like a high production level.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
The scary movies. Yeah.
yeah, or
I-
I mean that's been around for a while because you had like Leslie Nielsen doing that back with his stuff, and then the scary movies obviously made it very very popular.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that could go on forever because it just has to spoof whatever's current right now.
I do still
Well-
have an idea for Wayne's World 3 that eventually I will type off. I'm still waiting for Mike Myers to age a little bit more before I send it his way. But it's basically Mike Myers and his like bandmates, all old and retired and, you know, balding and stuff, trying to break Garth out of an old folks home that he's been sent to because he has dementia. I think that would be great.
But in defense of like not making spoof movies, there was a point where they had to stop making those because like the internet was, you know, the internet and Twitter
Was too
and
fast.
memes and everything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's so cringeworthy.
It did also.
now
It
when,
reached like
comedy-
oversaturation at a point because you had like
Right.
scary movie, action movie. Like they tried to make a whole franchise out of that.
Oh yeah. They made a.
I'd be
fuck
down
ton
for
of-
another
Oh,
good
yeah.
scary movie.
Yeah, and it's just I think you have to make a comedy movie that's not like relevant almost. It
Yeah.
has to exist in its own world and everything. I don't know.
Yeah, you can spoof maybe some of the older movies that
Right.
we've missed since that genre kind of died down. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Not Another Teen Movie is like one of the best comedies of all
Oh,
time.
easily.
Because the laughs per minute is like insane.
Yeah.
Like even when people aren't delivering lines like on screen, they have like off screen like ADR dialogue going
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm.
That's even almost better than what's
that was
happening in
just-
front of you.
Before 9/11, it was just a simpler time.
9/11 ruined everything.
Like me and Angie were watching 10 Things I Hate About You,
Uh-huh.
and the ending of that movie, like they go to prom and all that stuff. There's a fucking ska band playing at a prom. It's adorable.
What a shitty ass prom.
But it's like an amazing prom. And there's
Best
just a
night of my life, and you put a horn band up here.
and all the kids are fucking skanking and rocking out. Like the main characters are dancing pretty traditionally, but the fucking all the people in the background are just like throwing hats around and fucking skanking. It's just adorable. It's an adorable time.
Oh
My
boy.
hates were great.
Oh boy.
But
All right, well, we got to start wrapping up here, so let's give a nice round of applause for Kevin Pettijohn, our new co-host.
thank you. I have nothing to plug.
Oh
All right,
boy.
well, I guess let's
If you
start.
want to just like give me money, that's okay. You can Venmo me. Check out my SoundCloud.
Oh boy.
All right, I guess let's start wrapping up here. So thank you so much for coming out and staying to watch us. Thank you to Joe Manno and Kevin Pettijohn for coming up here and entertaining us all. Thank you to South Street Cinema for hosting us. Thank you to Kevin Gallagher for putting this all together. And let's definitely not forget HEADStrong, the nonprofit organization committed to providing essential services to improve lives affected by cancer. So definitely, if you guys have the means, definitely donate to that great cause that we're all here for. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, also, if you guys are ever in the area, those you listening at home and everybody here, also, I've never been here before, the South Street Cinema, but like also support this. Like,
Hell yeah.
I started following them on Facebook, and they'll straight up just have something called like Code Blue, where they'll just keep like the theater like open. They'll play theater, give everybody like free popcorn like all night, like until like 5 a.m. or something. For like when it's fucking like dangerously cold outside.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll let people like come in, you know, who don't have like a place to stay or anything. And I think that's super important.
That is. That's really
for
awesome.
the community and everything. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you. And yeah, also thank you, South Street Cinema, for having us.
Absolutely. And you can connect with us online. We got all of our links at howmanyfingerspodcast.com. Check out a review of Sorry to Bother You with Alex Berezanski. That's up now. And this week we should have a review of If Beale Street Could Talk coming up. So stay tuned for that. And stick around for Kid Flicks with our friend Ross Wiseman and Victims and Villains after that.
Awesome.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
I think
guys.
that's everything. All right. Thanks for having us, everybody.